I don't know.
Hey,
Hi, everybody.
welcome, welcome to the Lightworkers Roundtable. Welcome to Katie
Yes.
Moonchild's world. I'm Katie, and this is my wonderful. Oh, oops, sorry, wrong side. This is my wonderful guest, Renee from Tarot Love Community. For those of you who don't know her, but everybody in here right at the moment all knows our wonderful, sweet Renee.
Well,
I'm
thank you, and I appreciate you inviting me to come in and chat with everybody this evening.
I'm so glad you're here.
Me
It's like,
too, and hello to I saw Janet P, Sherry, Manasa.
yeah.
I feel like there was somebody else in here that we missed.
Let me look up here at the top. Who we got?
Sherry, we didn't. Oh, Teresa.
Oh,
That's what it was.
Teresa.
Sherry, is that the Virgo? We got Gemini, Aquarius. Is that Virgo? We couldn't decide if it was Virgo or Aries.
Is it Virgo, Aries, or Taurus? And I'm thinking now it's Sagittarius.
No, I don't.
It's not
Oh,
Sag.
gosh, I don't know.
Hi, Rachel. Good to see you, darling.
So we are here to talk about raising vibrations, right?
Yes.
Awesome. I love it.
And this is today,
Aries. Okay.
This week.
You were right. Aries.
This week is a good week to have this show, actually.
Yes. There's a lot of vibrations that are struggling right now, right?
Really hard to pull myself up. Really hard. And then every time I do, I see a picture or I hear something more that boom knocks me down. So before we start into all of that lovely stuff, I just want you to tell us a little bit about Renee. We know about Tarot Love Community. We're members. Tell us about Renee.
I mean, that's a broad question there. Is anything specific that you'd like to know?
Oh, what got you started in all of this?
With the tarot stuff and YouTube, it kind of all came hand in hand. As I was recovering for most people, because I talk about it rather openly. So for those of you who are not familiar, the end of 2018, I ended up leaving work right at Christmas time, and so started going to doctor's appointments literally on my birthday, January 2nd, 2019, and that started the process for me of it's basically my body kind of shut down on me because I didn't listen to it. I pushed myself to points that I shouldn't have, and it didn't work anymore. So I found out that I had degenerative disc disease, and ended up having my first surgery at the end of February. Second one was about 6 to 8 weeks later. The first one was a fusion, 2 vertebrae in my neck. I'm really fortunate because the guy did such a good job. I mean, unless you get up on me and you know about it, you really can't see this scar.
I'm trying to find mine because I had the same surgery.
Yes. I mean, he did a really, really good job on this one. Like I said, you wouldn't notice it unless you knew what you were looking for.
My doctor did it in a crease in my neck, a natural crease in my neck. So
I think that's the deal, because at first I was really mad because I was like, it's crooked. And then I realized, oh, it's following that
line. Okay. Don't want to look like somebody slit your neck.
Right. So I went through that, and they sent me home, and basically for the first 3-4 months of 2019, I was just drugged up and out of it. I was on massive amounts of painkillers, muscle relaxers, just trying to get through day by day. And so after the second surgery, which is I had I think it was 4 vertebrae in my lower back and my lumbar region. So I got, not only did they do the fusion stuff, I got like all the titanium accoutrement rods, All I was talking to I talked to my fairy godmother every day. We were talking about it not long ago, and I said, because she was the one that went with me, especially when you go through things like this.
Yeah.
It's best to have somebody with you because, I mean, you're in such a state of shock with the information coming at you. It's hard to absorb everything because all I remember is he said something about taking the vertebrae out, grinding it up into a paste. And I was like, okay, I didn't hear anything else after that until he said titanium. Because all I could think of at that point was them having like a magic bullet blender in the, you know, and I'm going, you're gonna turn my vertebrae into paste and what? So I'm like, clearly you know what you're doing. So I'm gonna leave it alone and just trust you because so needless to say, I can't watch medical shows anymore. I don't do well with them anymore.
I've had so much medical stuff over the years that I'm always watching medical stuff and I'm going, no, I don't agree with you. No, I can't
even watch it anymore
because I've been through so much.
Yeah, because after it happened, I don't know. So I was probably Grey's Anatomy or something, and naturally somebody comes in and has a broken back or something. I was like, okay, nope, too close to home. Can't watch that anymore. No. So after the second surgery, I went into a rehab facility for almost 6 weeks, and while I was at the rehab facility. I can't prove it, but it has to be where I picked up MRSA, MRSA. Yeah, a super virus. And so after I got sent home, I wasn't home maybe a week, and I had a nurse coming in every few days at the time to help with I had like an IV and everything that I had to deal with. And it just wasn't good. My temperature was low. They couldn't find a pulse. It was bad. So they took me to the ER, and I was admitted to the ER and subsequently into the ICU. And they diagnosed me with the MRSA, and I was in septic shock by that point. So yeah, life changed. I'm very fortunate that, and of course, the one broad spectrum antibiotic that works for MRSA is the one that I'm allergic to.
Of course.
And so they had to actually go in and determine. Hello to Swampy and Debbie and Ronald, and I saw, who else did I see?
I was just getting ready to say hi to everybody, but I'm enthralled with what you're saying.
Yeah, so they had to actually go in and determine exactly what strain that I had, so that they could give me the antibiotic for that strain. So I was in the ICU for a week to 10 days and then spent another over a month in the hospital itself, because they were having to monitor. I had organ failure that had started as a result of the sepsis and everything.
Absolutely. When you've got sepsis, shit happens really quick.
Yeah. So they were having to monitor me. I was going for, I had tests. They stuck scopes here, there, and everywhere. And I honestly, you would think I would know my blood type by now, but with the number of transfusions that I ended up having to have. But yeah, so, that was just quite the experience. And I'm very fortunate that I came out of it. I'm very fortunate that I am as intact as I am. Because one of the first things that they said to my partner was, if she wakes up, make sure she knows who you are. Because they were concerned that the sepsis and the MRSA had, and I can tell you that it has affected how my brain processes things. It's not something that articulate. It's not
I
something
understand.
that people would necessarily be able to see from the outside.
Yeah.
But I don't know what Loco is,
Benny
but okay.
Loco is a friend of ours, and she wears her hair just like that, and she
Oh, well,
color in
this
it,
is
and
this is one of the standard lesbian cuts. So,
you'd love Benny. You'd love Benny. Believe
but
me,
so
it would
yeah,
be a blast.
so I went up. I went through quite a bit. I survived it. I came out okay. I understand. It was probably another year and a half, 2 years before I truly understood how sick I was.
He knows. Stony Baker knows. He had
Mhm.
it too. He got it in his knees.
Mhm.
Almost died.
Yeah. It's some scary stuff. So, hi Tammy, hi Stony. So yeah, so by the time COVID came around, I was already home and had been more or less quarantined for about a year and a half dealing with all this medical stuff.
Yeah.
Um and went through a job loss and everything else. Took a year and a half to go through that process of because it was a wrongful termination, and so I had to go to
Mhm.
the EEOC, had to find a lawyer. It's been quite the process, and uh, I guess it's been because it's been about 2 years now. So yeah, in 2020, about this time in 2020 is when I was finally coming out of my fog, and I wasn't able to do too terribly much at the time. My biggest daily activity was coloring in my color books,
Yeah.
because that's as much as I could focus and handle at the time. And I
Oh,
was
thank
started
you.
listening. I went on YouTube, and at this point in time, I didn't even realize that YouTube was anything more than the music, um, as I just hadn't paid attention to it much. And
Yeah.
so I got on there and I realized that there was all kinds of stuff. So I went in and was listening to like the horoscope card readings. Here's what you can expect this month if you're a Capricorn.
Like me,
Uh,
I started with the pick a cards.
yeah, and so that's that. You know how the YouTube rabbit holes go. You start clicking on stuff, and next thing I know, I'm over with Scott and Andrea and their
It took me forever to figure out how that you could turn off autoplay. So
oh.
that's how I discovered a lot of tarot readers and stuff is because you just go right on into them from the one I watched before.
Right. And so yeah, so I ended up starting clicking, and I got sucked in with Andrea and Scott and their mystery theater. And I was like,
Yeah.
the first one that really got me was Andrea's reading on the Loch Ness monster, because I then of course went into I spent hours, just research. I went down this rabbit hole for hours after this.
Yeah.
So I was still listening to the horoscope stuff as I was listening to the other people, and all of a sudden these horoscope things started talking about, you're gonna get this business partner, and it's gonna be blah blah blah, and essentially it was pointing me to Andrea.
Yeah.
And so I reached out, and she got back with me. She thought I was wanting to learn how to read cards from her, and I was like, "Well, yes, but no, that's not what I'm. Yes, but that's not what this is."
Someday down the road, but that's not what I'm contacting you for.
Exactly. I was like, apparently the universe says that we're going to be working together, and this all was born of the fact that once I did find all these readers that I liked, I was trying to figure out if there was a place where you could go find out everybody's schedule when they put their shows on, and there's not. So that's kind of where the idea was born. Was, well, I could put together a calendar, so from there, the Tarot Love Community website was born, and started reaching out and inviting people to come be a part of it, and then uh, I hadn't necessarily intended on doing a YouTube channel, but it sort of presented itself, and because I'm not a reader. I know I'm psychic, but I don't. I'm just now beginning to embrace that, and am working on learning what that is and what that means for me, how to recognize it, understand it, and use it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's kind of what I'm doing now. A big part of it is one of the reasons that I started doing the Learning and Lunation series was simply because I wanted to know more about it. I thought, well, if I want to know more about it, surely there's other people,
Everybody
so we
else.
can learn on the way together. And
Yeah.
reached out to some folks and got them involved with, especially because I wanted to combine the crystals and gemstones and that sort of thing into it as well. Um,
Hi, Cat Shepherd.
yes, hello,
Hi,
hello.
Debbie from Australia.
So yeah, so that's how I got into the YouTube stuff. As far as just sort of metaphysical stuff in general, or tarot, it's one of those things I've kind of flirted with throughout my adult life. Um, I lived with some folks in Oklahoma at one point. That was my very first introduction to tarot and real paganism and real Wicca
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And uh, then I lived with these. I love the aunts. I'll have to tell the story about the aunts sometime. But these three old lesbian ladies, ended up staying with them for a little while, and Bobby was into Reiki. That was the first time I'd ever heard of Reiki. And as a matter of fact, they moved. Bobby was from New Orleans, and they moved back down to New Orleans shortly before Hurricane Katrina. And after the hurricane, when they finally opened it up for people to go back in the city about 6 months later, I went down there to help them retrieve what they could out of the house. And that was an experience as well, because seeing it's like everything, the stuff that's going on now in the news today. Seeing it on the TV screen is one thing, but when you go see that stuff in person, it has a whole different
Yeah.
impact on you. I mean, we were there, and um the house that they were renting, and thank God they were renting and hadn't bought anything at that point. The house they were renting, I mean, when we finally got in there, which thank God that one of them had other kids that came to help them, because I wouldn't have been able to get in there by myself, because their sleeper sofa, which sleeper sofas are already heavy, but it had got
To
lifted up
say
by
the
the
least.
water and ended up smacked against the front door, and so
Uh-oh.
it took three of us to bust
That's
through
like
that
almost like
door.
having a Volkswagen bug in front of your door.
Yeah, exactly. And so it took, and
Those
so
things
you
are
walked
so
in, you
heavy.
could see the water line on the wall was like eight
Oh
feet up. You
no.
could, the silt and dirt and muck that we were walking through was a good 2 inches at least.
Mm.
Um, and she had this binder, this 3-ring binder with all her Reiki stuff in it, in the sleeves, like you were showing me your page with the sleeves.
Yeah, with the
Yeah. Um, and she was like, if like, don't go anywhere dangerous looking for this, but if you find it, this is really important to me, and I'd really like to have it back. And wouldn't you know it, when we went into their bedroom, it was right there on the floor. So we were able to retrieve her
wow.
Reiki, essentially her Reiki Bible that she had created for herself,
Yeah.
and return it to her. And I was really uh, in awe of what we were able to rescue from their house. I mean, like, even their fine china, when it sat. when the water receded, because of course it had got up into the cabinets, and when the water receded, it just set everything right back down where it was.
Yeah.
So we
Wow.
were able to rescue quite a lot of stuff. Well,
That's
Stoney,
amazing.
she did more for me than I could say. So helping her was nothing. That it was the least I could do, because they took me in at a time when I needed somewhere to be desperately, and they kind of essentially adopted me. So
Yeah.
it was nothing to go down and help them. I was just glad that I was able to do it, and that we were able to rescue it. So I've had weird stuff happen over my lifetime that introduced me to these ideas and these schools of thought.
Mhm.
Uh, and then the one that really got me, that kept me, is where I know Manasa from, which is Open Heart. Open Heart Spiritual Center here in Memphis is, it's the science of religion, right? Not to be confused with Scientology or Christian Science or anything like that. It's more based off your Ernest Holmes type of teachings. But it's all about, it's basically love. God is love. We are love, you know. And the reason that it spoke to me, because of course I was raised an evangelical Episcopalian, hardcore conservative, all that sort of thing. So, and it never felt right to me, this notion that you have to invite a foreign entity into yourself to save yourself, right? And so,
Yeah. Ron had
oh goodness,
a
yeah.
hurricane up there. Ron's in Canada, you guys. Ron's in Quebec. I
Yes,
didn't
new
know you
daughter.
guys had a hurricane up there.
Yeah, Ronald, I'm
Wow.
glad to hear
Dude.
you're all right.
Wow.
Oh,
I know there was like a couple of days and there was like no Ron, and that was weird. But that's what I was so busy doing my own that's as far as it got. Wow, I'm glad you're okay, my friend.
yeah,
Oh
absolutely.
my gosh. And
So
yes,
that's
Tony,
so so yeah, so
I'll,
yeah, so that's
I'll
kind of
adopt
where
you, Stony. I'll adopt you, Stony.
but that's how I got into the the new thought movement or teachings, was through Open Heart, because that's the first
Mm,
place that I went, and and that's why I love Namaste so much. To me, that's just because it's the divine in me recognizes, and
the
uh,
divine in you.
the divine in you, and
Yeah.
and that makes so much more sense to me, that we are divine creatures of our own of our own
Well,
well, of our own, just as
if you're
is.
Christian, and it says in the book of Genesis that we were created in God's image. So doesn't that tell you we're part of God particle? We're part of God.
Well,
We're a part of God.
that depends on who's teaching, right?
Yeah.
But that's a whole other subject.
Yeah, we go into religion. That's worse than Bugs Bunny's rabbit hole.
Yeah. But suffice it to say that I have studied world religions on my own,
So
and
have I. I
so
actually went
so
down that road to see what was similar in all of them.
well, and
They're
that's what
all very similar.
they are. They're all, when you get down to the true, honest core of all religions, it comes down to the exact same thing: love, treat your neighbor as you would like to be treated. That's it. Golden rule and love.
Yeah.
If you're there for the right reasons, and the right messages are being preached, that's all there is to it, all the way around. All the rest of it's just taken and twisted for absurd agendas.
For personal means.
Hmm.
Speaking of agendas,
Yes.
let's do this Lightworkers pledge right quick.
Yes.
This is my favorite part of the show because it always gives me goosebumps because doing this with everybody, the power is huge. So when I'm going to read you the Lightworkers Pledge, and those of you who have been here before, you all know you can either say it with me, along with me, or think, do it silently and
Hey,
in your head, however you want.
will you put Stonies on from 725 so we can touch base on that after you get done with your thing?
That one?
No, Stonies from 725.
Oh, Ron, sorry. Yeah, that's who I was trying to get was, hello. This one.
Yes, thank you. All right, so let's do our pledge.
Yes, the Lightworkers Pledge. I declare this pledge in love. I will act based on judgments from the heart. I will act not based on judgments of fear or lack. I will act not controlled by self-interest, commercial, or political agendas. I will act attempting to reduce conflict and division. I will act to promote cooperation. I will act to promote consensus. I will act to promote peace. I will act recognizing the quality of all human beings. I will act to pursue a picture of collective truth rather than personal truth. I will act to acknowledge the responsibility of supporting others in their spiritual awakening. I will act and do not deliberately or knowingly misinform. I declare this pledge in love.
Yes, absolutely.
If we can live up to every single one of those, wow.
Well, and that's really what I try to do with the community center, Let me see if I can while I'm thinking about Stoney's thing here, I'll go see if I can find what I'm looking for.
I've heard this story from Stony.
Well, and I was gonna say
it's a great story too.
And truly, like I said before, it took the better part of 2 years before I truly understood how sick I had been, how close I had come. And looking back at it, my experience wasn't one of those, because I've heard Ronald talk about his NDE as well, his near-death experience. And for me, it wasn't one of those in a snap things. For me, I feel like, those pools they have, and I can never remember what they're called, up in Yellowstone, the pools where you look in and it's just this clear blue gorgeous thing, and it looks like it goes down into the dark forever at the bottom, right?
They're actually called reflection pools.
Yes, okay. Those. And that's how I feel my experience was. Like, I was just sort of hanging out on the edge of one of these, dangling over, looking in for however long it was. And I really feel like I'm only now starting to comprehend what I received during that period. That I'm finally sort of tapping back into the messages that were provided, because I think in a lot of ways I still wasn't ready for them, because
no, and you get more will come to you that was given to you that you didn't know was given to you as the time comes when you're ready.
Right.
So yeah.
And so that was I feel like that was my near-death experience, but again, it wasn't like one of those split-second type things. Mine was more of a drawn out. I just feel like I was hanging over a reflection pool for a while, and like I said, I'm only really, and it totally.
It is a new life, Stony.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is.
Born again heathen here, Stony says. Join the crowd, my friend.
So
you're in good company.
Yeah, and so yeah, so that's kind of where that was. But yeah, I mean, that with the community center, that's my goal, is to provide a safe place for those of us who are in need of such, to just to be a community of like minds, to support one another in love, to be the kind of place that I know I always wanted and needed, but could never find. I was talking about it a little bit this morning in my little blessings and benedictions I did about, I feel like most of us in this community don't, they've never really fit in any specific place. We've always kind of been in the in between, right? And so for those of this is the place for those of us who didn't fit anywhere else, is what it boils down to.
And also, I really appreciate the website and having Tarot Love Community to go to, because I know the people in there are safe.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're out here, I've gone through most of my walk through this alone. I haven't had support. So this is all real new to me.
Oh, absolutely. I think it is a lot of it.
People who think like I do supporting me makes me feel like, well, whoa, am I worthy to be with these people? Yeah, you damn right I am. I've been doing this and working at this for a long time, but it's me and that holding me back. Am I really that good? Am I good enough to be on YouTube? Come on. Fortune tellers are on YouTube. I was always afraid that someone would see that I was, oh no, that's not what that card means. That never happens because it doesn't exist.
Right.
It never happens. Another card reader is not going to look at you and say, you don't know what the hell you're doing. Just because
I think that's because the people who are true and genuine understand that this is very much an individual connection to your higher power, to your higher self, to source.
It's like the movie The Alien or Avatar, where they're connecting to the horse, they connect to the flying things, they connected to the tree.
Yes, and everybody has their own connection, right?
But each one are individuals, and each one of them had a special, the creatures that flew, each one of them had their own that was born, meant to be for them. I believe that happens here.
Oh, absolutely.
And we have been so conditioned to shut that all out. That
I absolutely believe that.
That's what I do to turn.
And that's what I love about this community coming together. And yeah, it is new for a lot of us. A lot of us, this woo-woo stuff has not been widely accepted until more recently.
A lot of us have been in hiding for a very long time.
Right. And that's why, I only really flirted with it here and there until it finally.
I'm one of those that was in hiding about it for a really long time. Scared to death to reach for other people because my family might hear. My family might know. And like you, I was raised in an evangelical, Southern Baptist family. Well, we could go down that road. They've kind of been in the news lately. But anyway,
I mean, even such as like I love my pendulums, but mine, everybody's pendulum speaks to them differently.
Absolutely.
Like I know Andrea's does one way for yes, while mine spins in a circle for yes.
Yeah. And some people it spins in a circle for no. Right. Mine doesn't spin in a circle ever. Ever. It either goes forwards and backwards or side to side, or it doesn't move.
So yeah. So I mean, it's just.
I've been doing that since I was
we
9.
all recognize and understand that and are able to support each other in not just learning about these things, but finding how we can individually tap into them.
Yes. And what's really cool is about how we individually tap into them, but yet we support each other. We bring each other along with our ideas and our inspirations. And kind of veers off of my outline for the show, but that's the one thing about Tarot Love Community. If you are going through a hard time, bless her heart, Sonia Rain Lee is on my mind a lot tonight because she's COVID, you guys. She's sick. So I've been praying for her all day. All she had to do was put out there, guess what? I went to Mexico for vacation and I brought COVID home with me. Everybody swarms to you when you need help.
Yeah.
And I'm not used to that. I'm used to every time I need help, it better be a good reason and there's a string attached. You got to pay back this, and it doesn't happen here.
Right. And so for a long time, I was one of those too. Nope, too much comes with asking everybody else for help. I'm going to figure out how to do it by myself. And one of the things that going through my medical issues taught me was that there are times where you literally cannot do by yourself. I mean, I was bad enough to the point where and I'm sorry, I tend to be more private. I don't necessarily, of course, going through all that, you also, whatever dignity that you might have had.
What's that?
I might have lost my dignity, but I still have my integrity.
You go through anything major with in the medical field as a patient, forget dignity. It don't exist.
That's gone. You can't embarrass me anymore after everything I've been through. It's just
have an MRI for breast cancer, you guys. You want to feel like a cow? I mean that literally. They manhandle. You lay on your stomach and you got to put your boobs through these two holes. And of course, they've got to have the right equipment there to fit your size. So you can hang down through them. And they manhandle you to pull you down through there.
Yeah.
No apologies or nothing. It pinches, it hurts. Their fingernails are going in. It's just like, okay, we're ready.
Well, they're desensitized to it because that's their job.
So many, yeah. But still.
But
you have a stink bug. I'm one of these people. If I have a bug in my house, like earlier today, I had a stink bug in the house. Most people won't go near a stink bug because if they shoot, you're going to smell like a skunk. Okay. I go get a tissue, actually paper towel, and I go pick up the stink bug and I take him outside. Because the last thing you want to do is step on him in your house.
Right.
But my family's always made fun of me because I do that with crickets. I'll do that with a spider if it's not a spider that's going to hurt me if it bites me. That's just me. It's like I have such a reverence for life that if that's walking on the ground, it has as much right to walk on that ground as I do. Because it's life.
I do draw the line, though, at squirrels and whatnot trying to move into my attic. That's the line in the sand.
I used to have chipmunks that lived in the walls of our bathroom when I lived at Bryce Canyon. You guys know what pine nuts are. You know how expensive they are. They grow like crazy at the Grand Canyon. They're called piñons. The trees are everywhere. So we go on the outside of the park because it's illegal to do it in the park. We throw blankets down underneath the trees and then shake. Men would climb up in the trees and shake the crap out of the trees. So all the pine cones and all the nuts would fall out of the pine cones. And then we'd load up our cardboard. I'm not kidding you. Huge cardboard boxes full of these little piñons, little pine nuts. Man, I sure wish I had now. I could sell them for a lot. But anyway, we'd come down and visit the Grand Canyon and do that and go back home to Bryce Canyon. And that's where the chipmunks were living in the walls. My dad would put those pine nuts in his shirt pocket. And then he'd hold his hand like that. Little chipmunks would come up over his back, down into his pocket. They'd get a little nut and they'd come back out and they'd sit in his hand and eat the nut. I was like in the 2nd grade. I was heartbroken when they had to come and take those things out of there because bubonic plague showed up in the park.
Oh.
I was like, no, those are my pets. And I was like, well, they were mad because we weren't supposed to be feeding them. We were supposed to let them know that they were there. We were just having a good old time with our little chipmunks in the walls.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not happy when they try to, if they want to pay rent, that's one thing, but they haven't offered such, so.
Yeah, speaking of wildlife, you know what I saw today at 4:30, just before we went live? I went out to go get my mail, and this dog was running down the street, and this dog, I'm like, God, stray dog. Oh, he looks bad. And then I looked again. It was a damn coyote.
Oh, goodness.
In 4:30 in the afternoon. Usually when they're in the neighborhood,
Thing.
you see them early in the morning or in the evenings, but that's rush hour, you guys.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so I have my little outside kitty now. So I'm like, oh no. Archangel Michael is protecting her. So I'm not worried.
So what's our next question?
So our next question that I really want to know is, when you're feeling down, do you have a process that you go through?
It depends on what kind of down it is. If I get really, really just deep down into, getting down into the depression and stuff like that, because I, of course, deal with depression and anxiety stuff. My initial go-to is the Shawshank Redemption.
Really?
Yes. That is my go-to movie when I am down in the dumps, because the fact this man innocently, for 20 years until he finally got out, and then he gets to live his life. I kind of feel that way, especially now after everything I've been through. I kind of feel like I've done my time.
Yeah.
I'm almost out of the shit tunnel. I'm about ready to do my dance in the rain and, make my way down to say Wantaneo. But that's always my go-to when I'm in a really dark place, because by the end of it, I'm feeling much more like, oh, shit, if he can make it through all that, what I'm feeling and dealing with seems pale in comparison. But just for little stuff, I mean, it kind of depends. I've got this house full of critters, so that's 5 cats and a chihuahua, so they keep me entertained. That's a good thing.
I was just going to bring up your critters.
Yes, they absolutely keep me. As a matter of fact, I went to take a nap this afternoon. I had one sleeping on my chest, one curled up under one arm, and one down between my legs. So we was just having a nice little cuddle puddle.
You ain't moving.
No, I wasn't for a while. So
you thought you couldn't turn over? I don't think so.
Yeah. But I like to also.
That's a lot of love in one bed.
It is, and I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything. They're my babies, and they just.
I have a question.
So entertaining, especially now that with my 2 former ferals are really, really starting to mellow and show their personalities. Little Tippy's coming around asking for pets and scratches now. I mean, that's brand new for her. And so I'm just excited that whenever she comes over to ask to get
the slow blink.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
We've been slow blinking at one another for a while now, but she's actually finally letting me touch on her a lot more than she used to.
Aloe and I will talk slow blink back and forth to each other.
Yeah.
I do it to Willow, and he looks at me like, what the fuck are you doing that for? Just talk to me, lady. Because he's my elemental. He's like always touching me, always right by me. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Their personalities. I have 3 cats, and all 3 of them are so totally different. 2 of the 3 are litter mates, and they don't even they look alike in color, but that's all.
Yeah, no, they
Half the size
totally,
of the other one.
totally have their own individual
And
personalities.
people who go, dumb animals. I want to punch them every time.
Yeah.
Or
You
people go,
you
well,
haven't paid any attention.
that's a sentient being. I got news for you, baby.
Mhm.
All of them are.
Yep. And, I like to tinker around in the kitchen, can't bake like I was before. Well, I can. I'm working on finding, like, more sugar-free type recipes. Um, but, I like to go in the kitchen and bake or
Oh,
play
I
with
got a good one.
recipes
I got a
or
good little hack for you guys since eggs and chickens and stuff are getting kind of hard to get. You know that a quarter of a cup of applesauce is equal to one medium egg.
pumpkin works a lot for,
Yes, they
replacement
have
stuff
an
too.
acid in them that has a chemical reaction with baking soda or baking powder that makes it leaven. That's what you're using the egg for.
Well, cool.
It
I'll have to
actually
look that
makes
one up.
stuff more moist and sweeter. I know a lot of vegans that's what they sweeten stuff with is either maple syrup or applesauce.
Yeah.
Don't go down that agave syrup road because you might as well be using pure maple syrup. Agave syrup is not good for diabetics.
Well, a lot of the stuff that I'm finding too, like I got coconut stuff to try, coconut oil, coconut sugar, or whatever
Mhm.
they call it. So
Yeah,
I've been trying that, and but yeah, I like to go in and play with
coconut
stuff like
sugar is
that.
cool.
Or lately, I've been tinkering around in the backyard a little bit. I've got all the limbs and everything that came down over the winter. I'm still working my way through burning all
Yeah,
that stuff off.
kind of had a tree fall. Limbs.
Well, are you talking about my tree or your tree?
Your tree. I have two trees that oh my god, they better not fall because
Well,
if they
it
do, they
wasn't my
land on
tree.
me.
That's the thing. It wasn't my tree. It was the neighbor's tree. But yes, the neighbor's tree decided, and thank God it took out part of the fence, but whatever. I didn't care about the fence. That's easy enough fix as long as it didn't hit my house. But no,
Yeah.
they had one of the branches. They have a big old oak tree, and I love it because it provides some nice shade and everything.
Yeah.
But they haven't taken care of it, and so they had couple limbs come down. One of them took out the fence between our yards, and one of them went through their roof. I think though that they are in construction because they fixed it all themselves.
Yeah.
Um, and then they finally had somebody. I was kind of irritated. They had somebody come. I kept hearing a chainsaw one day, and I finally went out back to see if I could figure out what it was. And I look up, and there's dudes in the tree next door, with them in the tree. I was like, "Oh, wonderful, great! Now I don't have to worry about the tree hanging over my house."
Huh.
Except that they trimmed the tree everywhere around except the one that
Over
came
your
over my
house.
yard. I was like, really, people? Really? Would it have been that big a deal since he was already up there to just go ahead and. But, I'm not worried about it. If something happens, it's still their responsibility because it's their tree on their property. So,
Yeah. Oh, we won't go into the tree discussion because
yeah, no, I know. You have an issue with trees too. So,
I have two dead trees that I've been quoted. One of them is $6,000 to have it removed. Might as
yeah.
well be 6 million. I don't
Yeah.
have that kind of money.
Oh, I hear you.
And my next door neighbor on the other side is threatening to sue me. And so it's okay. She turned me into the zoning department. She's a Karen. I love the name Karen. Don't get me wrong. She is a
Right.
Karen, not she's Karen. She is a Karen. Anyway, she turned me into the zoning department. Zoning guy and I became friends. Judge and I became friends. City's going to remove my trees. COVID is the only thing that's held us back.
Yeah.
So, but she's still like training her dog. When I go outside, she's got 2 American bulldogs. Those are big dogs.
Yeah.
They're like boxers, okay?
Yeah, no, the American Bully is a big breed, yeah.
And they're bully breeds too.
Mhm.
But I come outside and she's got one of them where every time I go outside, he barks at me and she'll tell him, "Good alert." Good boy. Good alert. Do you know what she's doing, Renee?
Mm-hmm.
She's training that dog to attack me if we are ever in the same vicinity of each other. And she
Yeah.
doesn't even realize that. She's a cat person. She has no idea what she's doing.
Mm.
But I did have to bring that up in court. So
Yeah.
go ahead, Karen. Go ahead, Ms. Yeah. Anyway, that's my issue with my trees. I've just been, that was a year ago in April that we went to court, and monsoon season comes in July. And I want those trees, please. 4th of July, I'm out there with my hose. Don't anybody set off a Roman candle and catch my trees on fire. I mean,
Right.
it's scary.
Yeah.
But
Well, and one of the things too that I've really, really gotten into this year is a gratitude journal. I'm making sure that even if it's something as simple as being grateful for my fur babies, or being grateful that I have everything that I need for today. One of the people that makes my list on a regular basis is my neighbor down the street, Matt, and his family, because they're always down here helping me with something. He keeps my yard mowed for me. They help me with, he'll come change light bulbs for me, whatever. So I really make sure to
yeah.
to sit in that gratitude every day as well, and remember that. And that has been really a big help for me in keeping my mood elevated, keeping my vibrations on an upward trajectory. Because it's so easy to get caught up in
Spirit's been talking to me a lot about gratitude journals lately. I have a challenge for people that I'm going to be issuing. It's a 30-day gratitude journal challenge, but I haven't worked out all the details.
Yeah, and it was Manasa that got me started on it this year. It is a great idea. And
Oprah got me started on it when I had breast cancer.
yeah.
You wanted sit there going through chemotherapy and you have one boob here and no boob here, but you got drains and all kinds of crap coming out of where that boob used to be. And how do you find anything to be grateful for?
Yeah.
I'm sitting watching the Super Bowl on my 50th birthday, and I'm going, everybody else is partying and having a great time, and I'm sitting here getting ready to have surgery again to have my lymph glands taken out from under my arm.
Yeah.
So it
refocuses you. Yeah, it refocuses you, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm liking, is that it's forced me to, because it would be very easy in my circumstances to get down, to freak out, to be caught up in the anxiety of everything. So it has really helped me to focus on the good things, on the things that I can do and I can address in my own little ways. And I think that that's what has really spoken to me most, is that all of this has really taught me that you don't have to make big leaps.
No.
It can be teeny tiny little baby steps.
Just
As
breathe.
long as you keep taking them. Because even like with my physical stuff, it was months
at one
before I
point
could
it's all
get out of
you can do to breathe, Renee.
Exactly. And even I'm so, who likes doing chores? I know there's some of those clean freaks out there. I used to hang out with one quite a bit who just, I don't like things dirty, but I'm not like I have to clean it. It has to be at a 90-degree angle, whatever kind of nonsense.
Oh, I used to have my hangers hanging the same direction, color coded.
Yeah, no, I've always been more like that.
Love my crone. I love my crone. None of that crap matters. And people question me about it. I'm going, hey, I'm old. And nobody goes any farther past that. I love it. I love it. I love it.
And like I say,
The brain of a
nothing against the
28-year-old.
clean freaks. But when you live with a house full of animals too,
Right.
there's just only so much clean it can get.
I have
Because as
more
soon
than
as you
cat.
clean it up, there's a line at the litter box, right? So.
Well, I'm constantly, if you guys notice, you notice me in my live streams, I'm constantly doing stuff around my eyes. It's because when I wear mascara, cat hair gets in my eyes because it's all in the air in my house. I have 2 cats with hair this long.
Yeah. But even being able now I'm so grateful that I can do my chores and I can keep up with those things. I'd much rather the dishwasher worked and I could just throw everything in there, but it doesn't. And but I'm so grateful that I can now stand at the sink long enough to wash an entire sink full of dishes on my own. I can get up and take care of my babies, whereas before I had to have people come over to the house just to feed them because I couldn't get up and take care of them by myself. So that all that to say that just the baby steps. And even if it is just about stopping and breathing one day, if that's all you get out of that day, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
You did good. And also, I think we have to learn to look at ourselves and be proud of ourselves.
Our accomplishments.
Yes, I mean, yeah, it seems
it doesn't
silly
have
to
to be.
but I had to relearn how to walk.
Yes.
And so that's an accomplishment. I'm proud of myself for that. And yes,
Hell yeah.
And I love, yeah, y'all can talk about crone all you want to, but I was born a crone. So I figure I got y'all beat.
Well, that's like talking about blacksmiths, darling. I was born a smith, okay?
That's right. I was born one, yes. So I embraced that. But well, and the meaning of my name is rebirth. If you look at the etymology of my name, it's rebirth of the pure, divine, feminine wisdom.
That's where you get that from.
Mm-hmm. That's my name.
Your signature. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering. I was thinking about that yesterday. That if I was going to ask you that question, but I didn't need to. Thank you.
Yeah, that is the etymological breakdown of my name. So,
yeah, my name. We won't go down that road. No one ever spells it right. That's why I use a K.
Well,
that's why I use KD is because my KAYDIE.
Mine's spelled differently, so I've lost.
I like your spelling, Renee, though, because that's the easy spelling.
Yeah.
When because I know you got this website you're working on because you're adding new stuff to it all the time. You're keeping up with all of us. You're promoting us individually. I mean, the things that you do for us, Renee, when you get like totally exhausted, you mentioned earlier, you take a nap. Do you have a quick thing you do that kind of like gives you that extra, give me that Red Bull in the arm?
I mean, aside from the nap, no, not anymore.
I think I'm going to start taking a poll on the nap thing.
Yeah, I mean, really, I have come to appreciate that I have the ability and the time that I can listen to my body now. When my body and my mind say you need to go lay your ass down, I can go and do that now. And I don't try to fight it anymore. I like having my cup of coffee and whatever, but I certainly don't down caffeine. I've gotten off of sugar because of health issues. So yeah, really the nap is kind of the go-to thing for me now. And it's because my body says that's what we need right now.
And you're paying attention.
Yeah, and I've learned to pay attention because everything that I went through was because I didn't listen. I kept
Right.
trying to push myself through it, and I didn't give myself the um, attention and compassion that I needed. And so now that I have that ability, uh, then that's I take advantage of it.
You know, I have fibromyalgia, and the number one thing I had to learn was you cannot push through it. You
Yeah.
end up in the hospital when you push through it. You end up in the hospital on IV pain meds.
Well, that, and I also look at it this way too.
You
I
do too
mean, my
much
issues were at my
powerlifting.
neck and my back, right? So, too much powerlifting. Well,
Well,
and for
he
me,
used to be a javelin, like state champion javelin thrower guy,
oh,
dude. So
cool.
massive
Good night,
athlete.
Manasa.
Good night, Manasa. I love you. You have a wonderful night, sweetheart.
But yeah, I've had to learn my lessons from that experience. And part of it too, I really and truly believe, with the issues being in my neck and my back, uh, because had growing up, I had to learn to keep my head down. Just stay out of it, keep your head down, try not to garner too much
Mhm.
attention, that sort of thing. Uh,
I just kind of naturally
yeah,
did that
yeah, I
because
mean,
I
yeah,
was
we're
the
supposed to
youngest.
push ourselves, but not past a certain point. I mean, there's
Right.
that point where you push yourself to like with
When
your
you're
muscle training, you do it
right.
to a certain point, but you got to stop or you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah, you're gonna tear your muscle.
And so between that and carrying other people's burdens for them, it's no wonder that it was my back and my neck that I had the problems with. Because not only
Mhm.
did I carry my own shit for so long, I carried everybody else's because I was raised to believe that was my role.
You're a
You know?
people pleaser.
Oh yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
And so
But I've
if
learned to
you
do it
think that
in
it is
not a
your
dangerous
job,
way.
you think it is your job to
Hmm.
be the people fixer. So
Hmm.
when people come to you with problems with their life, because this is me, gang, when people would come to me with problems in their life, I would be just like totally absorbed with, well, what can we do to fix it? How can we fix their life better? That's not my job. That's their job.
Hmm.
My job to say, what are you going to do to fix your life? I am here for you if you need someone to lean on. But I'm not going to give you any answers because it's your life, your path. I can't give you answers.
Yeah. Well, that's a hard lesson to learn. And so yeah, so I've curbed my people pleasing tendencies to a more healthy level, and
Yeah. The other thing
and
is,
come to realize that
yeah, I
yeah,
used to care a
I
lot
mean,
about whether
you
people liked me too. That went along with it. If I gave so much of myself until I didn't have anything left to give, they would like me.
right.
Now, you don't like me? See ya.
Well, and one thing that I've learned is that we're all entitled to our opinions, right? But like, especially when you get into those situations,
Mhm.
your opinion of me is none of my business, and
Yeah,
my opinion of you is none of yours.
that's right.
So that was a heck of a lesson to learn, right? But yeah, that one has served me quite
I'm
well.
giggling over here because I have a friend, a, a lesbian friend, as a matter of fact, who all the time I used to tell, she'd be going, come in, and she'd be giving me her opinion on something, and she'd, well, it's just my opinion, and I'd go, Angela, opinions are like assholes. We all have them, but we don't always like to hear from them or smell them.
Yeah.
And she'd giggle and go running off, and she'd totally forget what she was pissed off about. But it's like you can get people to stop if they're going too far. but do it in a way that'll make them laugh.
Yeah.
And I learned people like you when you can make them laugh. And I'm not a stand-up comedian. I'm just a smart ass.
Yeah. I understand that completely.
Have a good night, Ron. Thank you so much for
Bye,
coming.
Ronald.
We love you. Yeah. This is good. Great conversation. We're at over an hour.
And I was about to say we might need to wrap it up because the crew is starting to circle. It's time for their bedtime cookies. And
well,
you know how that gets.
I did pull some cards earlier.
Oh, awesome.
And they're from Andrea's.
Oh, yes.
Lovely Oracle deck.
I'm so excited. I haven't really had a chance to use them yet, but I got.
Oh, you got the.
I know. I got a little package in the mail.
Awesome. I want Scott's.
Oh, you know he's going to be on tomorrow night. We're doing Share Your Wares tomorrow night.
I'm watching. I'll be there.
Yeah, he'll be on there, and Blooming Life Guide is going to come talk about her tarot services, and just got a thing today from a lady named Nina. She's going to come. She makes like vegan, organic, like lotions and soaps and stuff.
Ooh.
So yeah, I'm really excited to see what
Get your credit cards out, girls.
So y'all have to stop by tomorrow and evening and check that out.
Well, the first card that I got, I love it because it's a little note to ourselves. Hi, I love you always. You are amazing. You are gifted. You are the perfect you. You got this, and I got you. Love your higher self.
Oh, I like that one. That's a good one.
Isn't that a fantastic card?
Yes.
That was like, cool. What's the next one? So I just pulled up and looked at another one. Give the gift of love today.
Oh, awesome.
You know, I have a little story to tell you about this. The first time someone told me, when you're out and about walking around today, and you're with you come up to a stranger, talk to them with a completely wide open heart and see what happens. I tried that. And this little Mexican guy, I was actually on my way to a dispensary, and the guy was pulling in to park, and I was cutting across the parking space that he was getting ready to park in. I'm walking, and he's in a car, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, I'm laughing. I'm like, no big deal. And he's like, "You're so happy. What is it?" I'm like, "I was told to greet everybody today with an open heart. So my heart's wide open to you." He's like, "Wow, thank you." Do that, you guys. People don't know how to take you being just overly loving. You're a total stranger and you're being loving.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of what has my background that has really put me in a position to where I feel confident and competent to host this this community, because I did customer service forever and a day, and one of my big deals was I typically was sort of the customer advocate within the organization, and all people want to, when they're upset about something, they just want to be heard.
That's right.
And if you can listen and respond in kindness and with love and with compassion, it makes things, you're able to unravel it and find a mutually beneficial solution that, quite frankly, is much less than probably what you could, you settle for less because they're happier, and so I try to take those lessons and apply them in this this environment, because it's just about giving people the space to be heard. I know that that's something that within my family of origin in particular I always struggled with, being heard, or at least feeling heard. And
same here. Same
Yeah.
here.
So
Because
if
every
I
time I
if
would try to question is there more? The Bible says this and the Bible says that. The Bible says this, the Bible says that. And in my family, if you got in a discussion about the Bible, you better not say the Bible says this unless you says the Bible says this in First Corinthians, because they'll run you out of the house.
yeah.
So I just kept my mouth shut. I
Yeah.
didn't ask questions. I kept the questions in my head.
Well,
And
and
all came out.
one of my mother's favorite things that she used to say when I was growing up was, and really it's very telling as to the nature of our relationship. But she said that she was never going to be the kind of parent that said, because I'm the mommy and I said so. Until, and mind you, I'm the oldest, until I came along and learned the word why.
Let me tell
And
you.
so I learned very quickly that my mother was not necessarily the greatest source of answers and
Answers?
information. So I, in kind of a similar way, I'd take my questions, and when I got dropped off at the library, well,
Yeah.
because this was before we had the internet and Google and computers in the house and all that sort of thing.
You have cell phones, and when you got to the library, you had to carry the books home, and then you had to remember to take them back because they charged you if you were late. And
Well, but you know what? It
I
was
love the library, though. To this day, I walk in the library and I go,
I
because the
know, right?
smell of the
Because
books is sexy.
yeah. There's something about that book feel,
Hey,
It's just,
I'm a writer. I better love the smell of
yeah,
books.
exactly.
My third
But
card for you guys. This message from Spirit is saying, if you're planning it, do it. Don't just
okay.
spend all your time planning. I spent years going, when my mother and father pass away and the house becomes mine, I can do this, 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 and this. Well, as they got older and I was in charge of the upkeep on the house, they just said, it's your house now. Do what you want with it, even though they're still living here. So
Yeah.
then I started, doing those little things to make the house mine. So it's just the point that I'm trying to make is you can make all kinds of plans while life passes you by.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
make sure if you're planning to do it, put into your plan the small things that you can afford now,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's time or money, toward your goal. And then as you can get more money, you have more time, whatever, as you're needing more, you'll be able to do more if you take it smaller and slower.
Yeah.
Instead of just trying to, I'm going to be Elon Musk tomorrow. God, no. Who wants to be him? Sorry.
Yeah. That's another one of them rabbit holes we could go down.
It's funny. I used to want a Tesla car. I used to be real impressed with them because they look so cool and they're electric cars and stuff. You couldn't give me one now. I don't want one.
No.
And they're all over the place here. I don't want one. I'll take a Prius. I had one. I already had a Prius once. I loved it.
Well, who knows
Thank
what will be
you.
available when I'm able to get a car again. If I'm
Hey,
able to if I ever get medically cleared to drive, I can't even. I'm really not allowed to drive, so I don't even have a car right now. So
yeah, I don't have a car right now either. But you know
yeah,
what I've learned? I haven't had a car for 5 years. Actually, going on 6 years now. When I need to go somewhere, I rent a car and I take it back to them. If it needs repairs, whatever, not my problem. They pay for it.
yeah,
So it's actually cheaper to do it that way.
yeah.
Cost me what, $300 to have a car for a week? Cost you a lot more to own a car for a week.
Yeah. Well, and I miss it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I do miss being able to get out and do on my own
I
at
hate
the
having to
drop of
ride the
a hat.
bus or
But
walk.
but I'm grateful that I'm grateful for what I have, and that's what I've learned in the last few
I'm
years.
saving up for a box truck
Oh yeah, there you go.
because I'm going to convert it. I'm going to do the van life in the summertime. I'm not going to stay in Arizona in the summer. This is my last summer. I say that every year, but no, it's too hot. Hey, greeter. It's good to see you, Teresa.
Well, I better get going.
Yes, I thank
They
you
are.
so much. I always close out with this one little quote: "Shine your light and make a positive impact on the world. There is
That's right.
nothing so honorable as helping improve the lives of others."
That's right.
Do you want to feel satisfaction and love in your life? Volunteer somewhere. Have a neighbor notice a neighbor that needs help. Go help them. Go knock on their door and say, "Can I do something for you?"
Or if you're into the animals, it's kitten season, so they're looking for fosters out there. I can't wait till I can get to the point where I can, because I really decided that's one of those things I really want to do.
You want to be a foster?
Yeah, is foster, because I love the idea of kittens, but one, they outgrow their kittenhood so fast, and two, you start getting to the age of recognizing that you want to make sure that you're here for them for their entire lifetime.
Yes.
And so I really think
I'm 64 years old, and that's my thoughts.
Yeah. So I really think if I'm going to bring any more into the house, first of all, there's too many of them here right now. So we're at max capacity on in home, permanent resident.
You bursting at the seams.
Right. But later down the road, I would love to be able to offer a space to older animals, senior animals, animals who are in need of hospice care, that sort of thing.
Ones that
Do
nobody's
the
gonna
kittens
talk.
and help with the kittens and get them socialized and all that sort of thing. So anyway, suffice it to say, find your passion and you reach out to those types of groups or those types of entities to find where you can give of yourself and share of yourself.
I can tell you, I was watching, someone was doing a fundraiser, one of our wonderful people, and I was watching it, and I had like $1.99 to my name till payday, and I still had like 2 weeks to go. And Spirit told me, donate. I'm like, but that's my last $1.99. And Spirit's going, what are you going to buy with $1.99?
Right.
So I donated it. You know what? The next day, I'm doing my laundry and I'm going through my jeans, and there's a dang $10 bill in my jeans.
Woohoo!
So that proves right there that what you give comes back tenfold.
That's right. Well, and I look at it this way too. I may not have much right now, but slow and steady and Spirit. I mean, that's the point of all this, right? When we walk in our purpose and our path, and that's what Terra Love Community is for me. Because I mean, the message that I finally heard, it was about as clear as you can get, was be who you are and do what you do for this community. And so that's what I'm doing. And sure, I'm struggling right now. Who among us isn't? But I know that if I keep going and I keep being grateful for the fact that today I have everything that I need.
There you go.
Tomorrow we'll worry about tomorrow.
Right.
But today I have everything. And
only thing you're
and even though the universe
guaranteed.
plays chicken a little more than I would like for it to do, so far the funds have come,
you need them.
when they, again,
Universe
we're
provides.
minute, but yeah, they come. They find their way to me. And so I believe that
in the last year, I have manifested money that I never thought I'd ever be able to do before. And it's not money that went in my pocket, but it's money that paid off bills. Everybody talks about Biden. Please do this the student loans. And I feel in a way, I feel really guilty because he did that with my student loan. I had a $90,000 student loan. It's gone.
Yeah.
He did away with it. He and Social Security notified me. Biden and Social Security notified me that because it had been over 25 years since I'd been disabled, it certainly appeared that I was not going to be able to pay off this bill. So they were discharging it. Unless I go back to school, then it comes back. But I don't have no plans to go back to school. I have a master's. That's good enough.
Yeah.
You know,
Hey, Andrea Galvin, it's been a minute since I've seen you.
Yes, Andrea, good to see you. My goodness, lady. Wow, good to see
Excellent.
you here. You know,
Well, let me get going. Crew's hollering at me, so I better go make sure they get their cookies before they start nibbling on my toes.
Well, and I have grab it here.
Ah, yes, the kitty crap.
I got the same issue going on. So.
Yes.
Matter of fact,
Well,
that
my dear, it
coming.
was amazing chatting with you. And again,
we gotta do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anybody is in need, I mean, that's really what the community center is about. Is
Yes.
I mean, if even if you just need somebody to listen,
that's what this
I
channel
will be
is
happy.
about.
Yeah, I will be happy to listen. And
yeah,
even I can maybe not be able to do anything more than listen, but I can certainly listen without judgment and and give you your virtual hugs.
Exactly. You know, when Spirit told me to start this channel, Spirit told me this was going to be a channel for people to come to for inspiration, calm, and respite.
Yes.
So this is why I don't do the read on negative stuff. I don't do politics and celebrities and situations. I do what you guys personally need me to do. Yeah. So the whole point of this show especially is as light workers, we have a job that is about to explode on us.
I think that's probably why a lot of us are really
5 years I've been being told this. There are going to be so many newly awakened people. We do not have a chance to hide in the shadows anymore. So the Lightworkers Roundtable is to support you all as light workers, us as light workers, to help each other for calm and respite, and to be there for each other, and to let
and to remind each other.
Our followers know that we are going through the same pain, the same resistance, the same doubt and fears you guys are going through.
Yeah.
We may not admit it to you because we're fighting it so hard. But yeah. So keep that in mind when you're asking us certain questions you want to know. Because sometimes those questions take everything we have to answer. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. And y'all be sure to give Katie the thumbs up for her channel. Thank you. You guys be kind to one another. But most of all, be kind to yourself. Because without you being you, this world is going to have a big hole in it that we're going to miss. I love you. Thank you. Love y'all too. Bye-bye, everybody. Next week, my guest next week is Lisa from Spirit Intuitive. Excellent. We're going to have a good time. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.